What's that?
It's just my watch. Our noodles are ready.
What's the orange flashy circle thing?
Oh, that just helps you tell the time in the dark.
You know what? It looks surprisingly like a Division watch.
Yes, Division watch. Yeah, I'm an active agent, and I've been co-hosting YouTube with you for 4 years.
Your Division?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
You're a bit of a Jesse.
Jesse, I think not. I've been trained by top men, to absolutely decimate you with nothing more than my armpit hair. I could kill you where you stand. I could kill anybody. I am a colossus amongst men. Nobody can touch me. Nobody can beat me. I am here for the world, and nothing will stop me.
So what are you going to do about this frying pan?
I'll probably cover my head and roll in a ball. You could have used a non-stick one.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming. I am the Majestic Snare, and that is something I found in the road and thought it'd be nice to put on camera.
I've been hit by a car.
Yeah, I think that everyone knew that already, Lee. That's fine. Hello, welcome to today's review, Division 2.
Indeed, Ubisoft's latest open world offering. Is it better than Anthem?
Yeah. Now, we've been alluding to this game on a number of other videos we've made over the last few weeks. I know it's a long time coming. Division's been out for like 2-3 months now. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's definitely not a new spring chicken of a game, but it's one that we need to take our time with and form our opinions very carefully on.
And we did do a review of the first Division, so maybe I'll put a link down in the description to that review. And you can compare and contrast with the first game to this game. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that don't know what the Division is, Lee, what is it?
It's a game.
But it's in a weird, I'd say alternate kind of future.
Yeah, there's not been any viral outbreaks in New York that I'm aware of. So
no. So basically something has happened and these sleeper agents are then activated in the first game and likewise in this game too, because it's in a different setting.
It always struck me as kind of weird because it's just like a mum dishing up her tea and then her watch goes off and she's like, I need to go shoot things.
Yep.
It's kind of like, that doesn't seem like it'd be your skill set.
So it's like a secret agency that comes into effect in a crisis and they're awoken, you know, with their little circular watches.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of saying, right, you need to go do your shit now. But in the Division 2, you're in a completely different city, and obviously everything around you looks different to New York because it's not New York.
And it's not winter, and it's DC.
Mm-hmm. And so in the first game, it was very much a look at this bleakness and this shit everywhere and, you know, lots of enemies to get in your way. And in this one, I found the actual area you're working and playing in a lot more pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, but
it was different.
Well, it wasn't just like this dusty, covered in snow, sort of full of trash place.
Yeah, you've got open areas, you've got, you know, construction sites, you've got monuments, you've got parks, you've got
hotels.
Yeah, hotels and streets and all kinds of stuff that you get in a city. But it's just nice because it is actually a change, but it's still keeping it to the same sort of core gameplay.
It feels less time has gone by since the event than the first one. Because the first one, it felt like everything was falling to bits. And there's still like places that look reasonably functional, like someone's just left it.
Mm. And yeah, I mean, the game itself, it's much the same as the first one. If you've played the first one and you've liked it, you've probably already bought this second game and played it anyway. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, that's what we do now. But the game itself, you are collecting a lot of different bits and pieces, weapon-wise, armor-wise, and the main story will take you through and you collect stuff through that. You get rewards for completing missions, but the rate of loot drops is much better.
It's really well done. You always feel like you're getting something out of it, something better than you already have.
And it's constant. It doesn't stop. You get, you know, similar kinds of enemies across all the different factions, and it's generally not really that noticeable. I mean, you get your tanks and you get your rushers and your melees and stuff, but fundamentally, it's a challenge. It can be challenging, and I like the way they balance the challenge of the game. I mean, I said to you earlier that when you're matchmaking with 3 other people to do a particular mission, which is helpful if you're having a bit of trouble. The missions are really difficult because you've got 4 people. But when we actually played together, and we did play online together, it was toned down, but it wasn't toned down to the point of being completely easy. It was still a challenge, but they'd just removed some of the heavy options. So in the 4-man team, I remember seeing about 5 or 6 tanks coming out of it. Not actual tanks, but
no, that'd be OP.
Tank classes coming at you. And they were tough because there was lots of them all over the place. But
and then we did the mission, and there weren't any.
I think there was 1 or 2, but they weren't all at once.
No.
So it kind of balances out that way. And I remember playing a mission in the same area with Lee, and something didn't happen when it had with the 4-man team, and it was a bit weird, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and also it certainly scales well for solo players as well. I mean, I've played a lot of the game solo, and it's fun. You will get like the annoying ones that have chem launchers and stuff, and died quite quickly, and like doing that over and over can get slightly frustrating. But generally speaking, you won't get stuck permanently on it. You will find a way to get past it without throwing your fucking mouse through the wall.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that much. I mean, I did die a few times. One problem I did experience was respawn points on longer missions. When battles between enemies and the characters that you're playing can move around that enclosed map, then they can end up having a fight over the respawn point. And therefore, when you respawn, I had a particular enemy that was a bit of a tank but would have a melee attack. They just run up and clock you one. But if you just come back to life and you're not full strength and you don't know where you are, or which way you're fucking facing, you get bopped and then you're dead again. So it's a bit annoying. I had to restart that one. But overall, the combat's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, they've definitely improved it. The main complaint I had with the combat in the first game was the bullet sponginess of all of the enemies. That's not as bad in this one. In certainly lower level enemies, for shooting a person with a gun, they take a lot of bullets, but it's not. From a game perspective, it's not an obscene amount. And the armoured enemies, they've made it so you can actually shoot off parts of the armour. So if you concentrate on like his head, even if the rest of him stays armour, you can blow his helmet off and then shoot him in the face a lot, and he'll die quite quickly. I thought you were going to pick up on a helmet, but never mind.
No, I've done the helmet joke before.
Okay, fair enough.
No, what I will say on that point is there's an achievement for undressing a tank. I can't remember what the actual name of the enemies are, those types.
No, they're the big.
They've just got like
that always have something nasty in their hands.
Sheet metal armor and a minigun, and they walk really slowly at you.
Yeah, or you get the melee variants as well. Who just walk at you, and you're like, if you come near me, I'm fucking dead.
Yeah,
but I can't stop you.
2 hits, you're down. I found the combat actually very, very challenging in places and enjoyable. The gun sounds are incredible. They really do feel accurate, as you can tell what you're firing. And one thing I did like about the soundscape of this game is you can be wandering down a street and you'll hear like cans rattle or like a dog bark or like someone shouting or like muffled, muted gunfire. And you're like, oh, where's that? I'll go find out where that is. It sounds like a juicy fight to get involved in.
Yeah, there's a lot more animals to shoot this time around as well.
Yeah, you kept on shooting the dogs.
In the first one I did. And it just became a habit now. But like, what I don't...
Right up his arse.
He should have been paying attention, shouldn't he?
I was trying to pet the dog and it just gets a bullet in its ass.
I was like, yeah.
And then Lee comes running past, giggling.
No, but one of the things it does is a bit strange is they're like deer, yeah? They're just like roaming the streets. And you can shoot the deer, but you can't harvest anything from the deer. Now, there's people in these fucking settlements that are like dying of hunger. I think they could use a deer.
Or a dog.
Or a dog, push come to shove, yeah.
I wouldn't eat a dog though. I'd rather die than eat a dog. I like dogs.
I like dogs, but I'd rather eat a dog than die.
No, I'll be looking after the dog and keep you warm.
Just Will Smithing it.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual landscape of the game, I hardly had any like bugs or glitches going on. You had one.
We had one when we were playing together where it was like this sort of outside shack, wasn't it? Something like that, little warehousey thing. Yeah,
wasn't it the doors inside a germ factory?
It was something like that. But I managed to get in, couldn't get out. I'm just like, why did you even let me get in there?
It's almost like the animation was for me to get through, but not for you, and it wasn't recognising you were there.
No, I was just running around in this completely building that was devoid of any content. I was just like, I'm going to die now.
Lee, ignored in life, ignored in video games.
Such is the way of things.
But overall, I mean, I had a great time with Division. I kept on coming back to it every day for a period of time. And my barometer of a game, whether it's good or not, is whether it can keep me away from Warframe. And it did.
I thought you were burnt out on Warframe.
Yeah, but I'll always go back to it every couple of days or so to jump on and do my weeklies and stuff.
Just check his bits and pieces of processing nicely.
But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. The gameplay was enough to keep me enthralled, and I felt achieved when I did a mission, and I got some nice loot out of it, and you'd be gathering up stats on your gear, and the crafting system I still haven't got my head around yet, but it's immense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have with certain things you can craft items that you need to, but it's probably not advisable because you'll pick up something new very soon that's a higher level anyway. But you can build up these skill points from different parts of armor that you've got on there, and you have abilities or attributes of your special gear that you have, because you can carry 2 special items or special kind of
they just refer
combat
to skills.
Gear. Yeah, so it's things like a drone that will fire on people, or be a flamethrower, or a turret, or a healer.
Yeah, that's really handy, especially if you're soloing, having a healer drone.
Oh, seeking grenades, that's the one for me. I love that.
Chem launchers
that split into 5 and then go off and kill 5 people at once. These kind of things, they have specific mods on them that will activate if you have the right skill level. So there's a whole different level of that, as well as building up the skills that you have, because each particular skill, like a seeker grenade that rolls along the floor, can either be split into 5 different particles, or it could be a big kind of explosion, or a fragmented explosion. It could have different abilities, and you can unlock all of those, but then each one of those has another ability you can stick onto it, as well as your guns. You've got your mods on your guns, which is great. I loved it.
Yeah, the mods is really good. I didn't really get on with the skills because I found I just unlocked the 2 I really wanted first, and then I was getting all the skill points. So I'm like, well, I've got what I want. I'm not really...
Unlock it all. Unlock it all.
Well, I am progressively doing that, but I'm not using anything I'm unlocking because I got the 2 I want. I was just like, I want this one and this one.
Yeah,
I know where I am with those.
I really enjoyed it, and I have to say that the dark zone of the game, which is your multiplayer kind of PvP kind of area, I delved into it a little bit, but I never really liked doing that in the first game. It's your end game point, really, and it's good. You can get some funky loot from it, but it forces you to do the dark zone because it's not just PvP; it's PvPvE.
Yeah.
So you can solo it if you want to, and just avoid people.
Yeah, there are specific missions that sort of ask you to go into it, which I've avoided for the most part.
Yeah, but it's part of the story. Get through it, get some loot, it's fine. But I really enjoyed the difficulty kind of curve of this game, because it will lock some areas against starting missions because you're too low a level. But when you get to a point, it'll unlock sort of new types of missions. So when you start off, you're killing people in an enemy settlement or protecting a radio tower type thing and changing the message, and then it's like a defense point. And then you go on to do strongholds, which are the big boss missions, and those are quite challenging, even no matter how many people are with you, because it will scale up. But then towards the end of the game, it's just the missions get tougher and tougher, and you get better and better gear, and it feels right. It feels like you're carried along through, which is something that a lot of games miss. It's either like normal game, now it's end game, and you have to be up and have all the good gear before you can do anything. This one feels like a curve. You actually collect what you need, and then you end up at a point where you're always collecting new stuff and getting better things, but it feels like it's gradual and it feels nicer. Do you think?
I found that to be true for the most part. I think there are some points in the game where the difficulty spikes. Certainly if you get a combination of enemies that are grenading you, and you're concentrating on getting out of the way of the grenades, and there's melee rushes in there as well. That gets quite frustrating, because obviously you can't take out the rushes while you're being grenaded, because that will kill you just as fast. So it's kind of pick your death. But you eventually do get past it. As I said, I've never had a fight where I've just had to give up on it. I've persevered, and I've always managed to do it in the end. But for me, other missions will just be you just go in and shoot everybody in the face and it's fine. And then you get those ones where it just seems to be the particular combination of bad guys that they're throwing. You can really make it more difficult.
There's a couple of ones where I did have a few rooms where it was like a battle in a room, but I could leave the room and they didn't seem to want to. So I could literally funnel them through a door and then just kept on moving side by side, getting covered from the door. Pew pew.
Yeah,
Pew, pew.
the health mechanic I really like in it as well, because you don't have like health packs, you have like replacement armor plates. So like you hold down V and you like pull the armor plate that's shot to shit out and put a new one in, and it just refills your armor, which is a lot more realistic than just going, I'm alive again!
Drugs!
And then obviously when the combat's over, you don't need to worry about it because it goes back up. So you're always kind of like, well, I only got a little bit of armor left, but do I waste one when I'm about to finish the fight and it will go back up anyway?
Yeah. I really enjoyed the mechanics, all of the activities and abilities. Very easy to do within the game, and you needed to most of the time to utilise that to get out of shit. One problem I would have with playing with randoms is either you're playing with inexperienced people or you're playing with people that just want to rush. That's the only issue I'd have, but I think that's in any game. You know, you get people that are like not knowing what they're doing and keep getting into trouble, and then like put in the chat that you're a terrible person for not helping them. You're like, I've helped you 5 times to try and stay alive. And that's fine if people need help, but you know, communication is key. And as we learnt from Apex Legends, not that we've done a video on it at all, but they have a ping system, which even though you don't have to talk to anyone, you can communicate targets, you know, objectives, loot, whatever it might be. And I think it could benefit from something like that.
Oh, no, I imagine me griefing that quite a lot.
Yeah, maybe. But I generally enjoyed my time playing online with other people, especially getting through some tough areas. So you definitely don't feel like you're, you know, completely lost. Because I remember in the first game, I experienced a problem. Real run up against this big old boss, couldn't do anything, just didn't have strong enough weapons, and it put me off playing the game for a long time. And this one had that, jumped online, got involved. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better than the first one in pretty much every way, but it's an iterative improvement. It's the same.
They worked a lot on the first one, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. By the time like the second one came out, the first one was in a pretty good place. But the way they've just gone, okay, it's essentially the same game that you're going to play, so don't go in expecting it to be a completely different experience. It's very much The Division, but most of the problem areas have been addressed to some degree or another, so it's a much better product than the first one.
Absolutely. I would strongly recommend buying this game. If you like the first one or were annoyed at the problems of the first one but still like the idea of the game, this is one for you. I really think to have a fully feature-filled game at launch is so rare these days, as my video, probably by the time you watched this last week, talking about the fact that people just throw out stuff that isn't ready. This is a game that is an exception to the fucking rule. This game came out, launched, and was complete and playable and fun.
And I think that launching so soon after the disaster that was Anthem probably helped them a lot, because it really sort of pointed out the stark differences in launching a game that is actually in a position where you can play it properly, rather than one that's just a framework and it might be all right in a couple of years' time.
Now, we don't know how much of a problem it was for Ubisoft's developers to do this game. You know, crunch periods, all that kind of good stuff that isn't very good. But the end result is fantastic. It's a good, fun product. And you get a game like Anthem, which I always bang on about now, but it's a game that was utter just not there. Well, the heart wasn't in it, it was phoning it in. So, a stark difference indeed, as Lee says, but it's exactly true. This game is so much better. It defines that genre, like for me, a bit more than any others of late.
Yeah, it was very much the case of everybody played Anthem, was disillusioned with the genre, and then Ubisoft launched The Division 2, and you were like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. Right, I gotcha. Nice one.
Yeah, I think developers have to take heed here. Having a looter shooter, right, it's not about just getting loot. You've got to be able to use it or get your fingers in the pie of that loot.
It's got to be loot that is of adequate level. It can't be loot. You can't constantly be getting loot that's useless, and you can't get loot that's so overpowered you lose all interest in other loot.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's got to be balanced. It's got to be something that you want and you can fiddle with. And customization is incredibly important in games like this because there are so many people coming up with the same way of doing things. And it's one of the reasons why in Warframe it's interesting, because when you put your mods into your characters and weapons, they feed off each other, they can do certain things, and you can find those mods that work together. In The Division, you get a similar kind of affair, that there is so much customization there's a lot of customization you can get for each weapon type, for your armor, etc., and your abilities and your skills, that you can make your own way of playing. You can make your character worthwhile being your character. And Lee could build something completely different, be a real old tank, and I could be something that's focusing on healing and something like that, with certain mods and skill powers and trees and stuff involved in it.
Pussy.
I've always liked being healers in games.
No,
Everyone wants one.
I hate being healers in games because you have so much pressure put on you. I remember I ran a dungeon in WoW back in the day, and I was playing a druid. I had one healing spell, and I was just constantly getting abused because I couldn't cast that all the time. It had a fucking cooldown. And I was just like, what do you want from me? I just healed this guy. Can't heal you. It's on a timer. Fuck off.
So, I never had that problem, but I enjoyed being in this game, playing it, and I think the first time we spoke about it, after we started playing, I was like, mate, it's quite good.
Yeah.
And again, for him, it's an Ubisoft game he likes.
I know, I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to buy an Ubisoft t-shirt. You have to wear it.
No.
Yeah. I love Ubisoft. You do, though.
Can you not just make shit again? I'd rather have that.
No, please don't, because you're doing a good thing recently. Keep it going. Well done, Ubisoft.
I liked your stupid Assassin's Creed, and I liked your Division 2, which is sort of exclusive on Epic Store. I touched on that. But, yeah, so I went and bought it on Epic Store like a tosser, and he went and bought it off the Ubisoft Store.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even think was a thing. I thought that was just something you spent points on shitty DLC.
You can get money off from Ubisoft Store.
Yeah.
Anyway, so review scores for Division 2. I will come out with mine. I always go first, don't I?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, go on, you go first then.
I like it when you go first because then I can adjust.
Okay, what are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a banging 8 out of 10. I think it's much improved from the first one. Division 2, I've been playing a lot longer than Division 1. Division 1 got hung up pretty quickly. I mean, I went back and tried it again once I'd heard it got good. And it has. It's a much better game nowadays than when we reviewed it. But Division 2 just keeps the ball rolling. From the start, it's basically the starting point of Division 2 is where Division 1 ended up. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what else they can do down the road. I have other games to play, so I'm not going to be religiously playing it going forward, but it's certainly not one that I'm going to be uninstalling, unlike a certain flying mech game thing.
Well, my position, I have to probably agree with Lee that it's an 8. I really wanted to give this a 9, but I think the draw isn't strong enough. I think I've completed through the story of the Division 2, and it kind of opens up and has kind of the New Game Plus feeling to it. Which isn't a bad thing. I think it's very interesting. I think it's a nice way to keep the game alive. It's definitely got replayability. It's got quality. It's got enjoyment. But I don't know if I can go to the 9.
No.
It's a very high 8. I think it's like an 8.9.
I would say for me it's like a bang in the middle 8.
Yeah, it's just a really solid experience. It's the kind of thing when you get a AAA and you pay that money for a AAA game. The Division 2 is a good example of what it should be, I think, is a nice little tagline.
Yeah, it's feature complete. There's a lot of content. It will keep you going for hours. You'll get a lot of content for your money. There will inevitably be DLC, but it's not egregious. There are loot boxes, but I think that's just cosmetic stuff. So if you want to play it's just cosmetic stuff, then you can play that.
But in terms of most grindy looter shooters, you can earn those.
Yeah, you can earn those. I have noticed that the drop rate for cosmetics seems to be lower in the Division 2 than it was in Division 1, where they weren't. I don't think they were trying to sell it to you.
No, but they have the 2 tiers of cosmetic items, so you can spend 100 of these units on a lower box, or save up to 250 to open up the bigger box.
Yeah, they do give you like 3 boxes as well when you level and things like that.
Yeah, just to show you the store, probably.
Yeah, the store isn't well designed. Like finding stuff in that, I found was like it's a bit bad, but because it's a DLC store, it doesn't really bother me because I don't plan on going into it that often.
Great customization, good enjoyment, just replayability. A brilliant game, well done. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. But yes, that's our review of Division 2. I hope you enjoyed it. We have videos out every Wednesday and Saturday, so come back then for some awesome content.
Yeah, let us know what you think of Division 2 down below, and if you want to join the Overbite family and be my brother, or his brother, that's probably a better selling point. Subscribe down below. Don't forget to ring the bell. That way you'll get notifications popping up on your mobile devices to annoy you when you try and watch porn on the toilet.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
That's right. No one's watching by now anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Whee! If you are and you're offended, let me know down in the comments.
Here we go. No one's going to see that.
I'll take that like back, sir. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy.
Bye.